What is a perfect anime? Well, nothing objectively speaking. An objectively perfect piece of art doesn't exist. In fact, I am of the belief that an objective review in and of itself cannot exist unless you are an omnipotent being devoid of emotions or a sophisticated AI. You will have biases and preferences. It's part of what makes you human. All reviews are subjective in my opinion. Why am I philosophy maxing for no reason? Well, because it's kinda the point of this video. When I say perfect, I mean perfect for me. According to my own subjective tastes and preferences, the following titles are perfect, or in other, less convoluted words, here's a list of my 10 out of 10s. Could I have led with that? Yes, but I'm called probably pretentious for a reason. Make sure to subscribe. Now, I do need to mention a couple of things first. I'll try to make this quick, but things might end up being a bit long-winded, but bear with me. Firstly, in this video, I'll look at two different types of 10 out of 10s. That being entire titles that are 10s and individual seasons that are 10s. Basically, if say Anime X had 3 seasons, any one of them could be a 10 or the entire show can. The latter of course will be more rare. Secondly, and this part is particularly important, my own personal preferences aren't set in stone, they change over time. There is no recurring formula I use while rating shows. Contrary to popular belief, I don't sit down with spreadsheets and calculators analyzing every part of a show before assigning it a rating. I know, shocking. Here's an example. You guys know I put a lot of emphasis on production value, right? Naturally, my newer 10s have strong production values, but that wasn't always the case. Some of my older 10s don't necessarily feature outstanding production because I wasn't aware of the subject back then, at least not to the degree that I am now. You get the idea, right? Basically, this is how I describe a 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10 show is one that is flawless at what it tries to do, provided what it tries to do is something I really enjoy. Of course, there are exceptions to that rule, as you'll see. Also, I say shows, but this list isn't limited to anime. It includes manga, light novels, and visual novels. Out of the over, good god, 750 shows I have seen according to my anime list, and the other anime adjacent media I have consumed, the following, in my opinion, are flawless. We'll start with my seasonal 10s and then go through my overall 10s, and we'll go through them in the order in which I watched them, oldest to newest. Alright, that's all. I know all of that sounded like those terms and conditions that nobody reads, but thanks for sticking around. Let's get to it. First off, we have Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai Season 1. Oh boy. Alright, so this is absolutely phenomenal. There, I said it. Of course, it's not actually about bunny girls, blah blah blah, you know that already. It's a rom-com, a relatively serious one, and it's phenomenal. There are plenty of things that set Bunny Girl Senpai apart from its contemporaries, whether it's the really well-written, snappy dialogue, or the characters that feel like real people, all while retaining that charm and over-the-topness associated with the genre. Whether it's the surprisingly mature themes the show tackles, or the general feel-good vibe it carries, it's perfect. Each character has their own story and conflict, their personalities are different from each other, and none of them feel like your typical anime character archetypes. I vividly recall getting lost in these relatively mundane exchanges because of how alive the characters felt and how natural yet funny and entertaining the dialogue was. Even the serious moments were handled with tact and nuance. They weren't over-dramatic, which unfortunately cannot be said about the first movie. The Bunny Girl Senpai movies are great, but the anime is far superior in my opinion. Also, kinda unrelated, but not really, I hate how fans rope Sakuta into those typical loner edgy protagonist conversations alongside the likes of Hachiman, Oreki, and Diano Koji. It's infuriating because that's not who he is. In fact, none of those 4 characters belong in those conversations. All 4 of them are severely misunderstood by the fanbase. Alright, you're going off topic, stop it. Point is, it's an incredible show. Up next, we have Oregairu Season 3, and I can see the gears in your head turning. You think you understand my preferences, don't you? You think this list will consist entirely of rom-coms with snappy dialogue, don't you? Well, keep watching. Anyway, Oregairu in its entirety is excellent, but the 3rd season in particular is phenomenal. I have read the light novels, and I believe the 3rd season actually outdid the source, which I know is a rare thing. The pacing, the fairly strong visuals, the incredible writing, it was absolutely perfect. Be it the way each character conclusion played into the overall story, or the long-awaited confession, which, let's just say, was exactly exactly what you'd expect from these two antisocial morons. I meant that endearingly, and that's the thing. Every single character in the show is flawed, including Hachiman. The third season of Oregairu was a fantastic, bittersweet yet wholesome and heartwarming conclusion to an incredible story. Next up, Psychopass Season 1. From rom-coms with snappy dialogue to a dark psychological thriller with a healthy dose of existential dread sprinkled in, I think Psychopass Season 1 is Ken Urobuchi's best work. It's a fantastic crime thriller with overarching themes of control and loss of emotional autonomy. It's a fascinating look at both the human mind and the progression of society as a whole, and if that wasn't interesting enough, it also features my personal favorite antagonist, Makishima Shogo. Shogo is essentially a personification of everything that's wrong with society. Anyone who makes a Joker we live in a society comparison is getting shot. I'm not playing, try me. Shogo is a psychopath, yes, but at the same time he is the most normal one, since he is insane and insanity is a luxury in the world of psychopaths. In a way, Shogo is the rebel, not to mention he is incredibly charismatic. Makishima Shogo is proof of the fact that you don't need a sad backstory or a backstory of any kind to craft a compelling villain. Of course, the rest of the characters held their own. I can go on and on about this season, it's incredible, which is also the reason why the subsequent seasons are infuriating to me. Urobuchi was involved peripherally with the latter seasons, he didn't actually write stuff, and the writers who replaced him dropped the ball in my opinion, although that's its own conversation. Point is, Season 1 is absolutely phenomenal, and up next, Dr. Stone Season 1. Talk about a tonal leap, we went from Psychopass to Dr. Stone. Look, this show, this season in particular, is fun, yes, but the reason why it's a 10 out of 10 in my books is because of a couple of episodes. Episode 17, the one where they revealed the connection between the village and Senku, and episode 24, or more specifically, the part where they played the glass vinyl left by Senku's dad. Both episodes have a similar vibe, and something about it gets me every single time. Just the idea of Senku's father, who in a way represented humanity itself, leaving the pieces that Senku would need far into the future. The idea of the two being separated by an insurmountable amount of time but still impacting each other, which of course is symbolic of the way humanity itself has progressed over time by passing what they have, be it knowledge or resources, to the next generation. It's captivating. It, allow me to sound cheesy for a second, it almost makes you proud to be a human, if that makes sense. That idea alone propelled Dr. Stone into the 10 out of 10 territory for me. It's amazing. Next up, we have the K-On! Movie. Now, if you keep up with anime on a seasonal basis, you'd be familiar with this subgenre of it that revolves around wholesome, feel-good, cute girls do cute things stories. In fact, it's vast enough to be considered its own genre at this point. And amongst this genre, K-On! Is basically the gold standard. It's about as good as it gets. K-On! In general is absolutely fantastic, and it's not like the movie does anything different. It's more of the same. It's just presented in a more compact, consistent manner and has a higher production value. That's it. I can't really explain K-On! To you, it's simply fun. And as a modern philosopher once said, fun things are fun. And up next, the last but certainly not the least, we have 86 Code 2, the newest entry in this list, but it's still over 2 years old. 86 Code 1 was somewhat slow, so much so that a lot of viewers stopped keeping up with it, but the ones who stuck around were rewarded with one of the best seasons of anime ever. A few episodes at a time thanks to crippling production issues, but the less said about it the better. 86 Code 2 was insanely good. The main character Shin is so well written. I think he's inspired by Levi from Attack on Titan? You know, skilled soldier belonging to a special clan who sees his comrades die over and over while he survives. He is just a young Levi, isn't he? Anyway, point is, his character arc is incredibly compelling, and so is the entire season. The last couple of episodes are two of the most well-written and well-directed ones I've seen in a long time. Of course, the show isn't over. Lord knows when we'll get a sequel, if at all, but hey, at least it's not over. And that's it for the seasonal 10s. Let's go over my overall 10s. Spoiler alert, there are 3 of them. First off, Attack on Titan. To absolutely no one's surprise, we have AOT, my first anime and the anime that made me an anime fan. It's also my favorite fictional work ever. I won't say much, mainly because I have talked about it before on multiple occasions, so here are a few bullet points instead. Incredible, ever-evolving story, perfect handling of the concepts of morality and warfare, top-tier world building, and a fantastic conclusion. It doesn't get much better than that. The second entry is 3 Days of Happiness. Now, I know it's a novel, but I read the manga. I know I should have read the novel. I know how good it is. I've read other works by the author. I know it's probably incredible, but we're talking about the manga here. 3 Days of Happiness is an incredibly short work. The manga is a mere 15 chapters long, but in that short duration, it manages to tell one of the most compelling stories I've ever read. It's a dark one with quite a few morbid themes, but it has a bittersweet, heart-wrenching yet uplifting conclusion. I won't spoil it, of course, but give it a go. It's a short one, so it won't take up much of your time. Give it a shot. And finally, the most recent of my 10 out of 10s is the House in Fata Morgana series. This includes the main series, A Requiem for Innocence and Reincarnation. Fata Morgana is a visual novel series. I know, terrifying. And I lack the vocabulary to do it justice. Incredible, phenomenal, generational, peak fiction, none of those words or phrases truly capture just how brilliant it is. All I'll say is, if you remove nostalgia from the equation, Attack on Titan would have a hard time competing with this series. It's that good. The House in Fata Morgana, the main novel, is a supernatural mystery that transpires in one place, the house, but across a long period of time. It's difficult to describe it verbally without spoiling anything. Here's an example of just how mind-blowing it is. At one point, the story takes the fact that a part of it is not that well written and ties it into the overall narrative without breaking the fourth wall. And if that sounds interesting to you, there's more where that came from. A Requiem for Innocence is a prequel to the main story, and initially I was dismissive of it, but I quickly changed my mind. Unlike the main story, Requiem is more of a drama. It follows Jacopo, who by the way is my favorite protagonist just of all time. It's a harrowing, heart-wrenching and soul-crushing story that leads into the main title. The story then comes to a conclusion in Fata Morgana Reincarnation, which yes, is the weakest of the 3 installments, but it's still really, really good. Of course, I highly recommend it. I know it's a visual novel, ooh, words scary, but do give it a shot if you can. It's on Steam by the way, at least the first 2 novels are. Reincarnation I believe is a Nintendo Switch only thing, so unless you own one of those no commentary playthroughs on YouTube are your best bet. And that's about it. It was a random topic, but hey, it's better than nothing. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Check out this other video on screen. I have a new audio setup, as you guys could probably tell. I'm still getting used to it, but do let me know if it sounds good. Is it better than the last one? It better be. I am wearing the old mic just in case, but if everything goes to plan, the audio you are listening to should be recorded through this thing. I'm sure editing me will confirm. Like and subscribe, and until next time.